But I'm actually going to try and completely farm it down because, like I said, Trevenant with loaded energy is extremely deadly, and they make a switch into their Medicham. I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball here, and it just one-shots the Medicham there. And then they come in with their Jellicent. This is absolutely fantastic. It shields down, and then I'm going to go for another Shadow Ball here, and this is, yeah, I mean, look at that. It just one-shots Jellicent from full health, and Slurpuff goes down to Shadow Claw there. So it pretty much like 1v3 their entire team. I mean, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. So Trevenant is taking the Go Battle League by storm. I mean, this thing is an absolute monster. It's basically broken through the pvpoke charts. It's now ranked number 2 in Open Great League, ranked number 1 in Ultra League Premier Cup, and obviously very highly ranked in Open Ultra League as well. And if you're not familiar with it, it was obviously released a couple of days ago. I mean, both Phantom and Pumpkaboo were released. Both of them are Grass Ghost types, which evolve into Trevenant and Gourgeist respectively. Gourgeist is pretty solid as well, but it's obviously not as highly ranked as Trevenant is. Whereas Trevenant, on the other hand, this thing is just such an anti-meta monster as far as Open Great League is concerned, right? It breaks apart the core meta. And for this particular team comp, I decided to run it alongside Umbreon and Azumarill. It's obviously a very meta core, but I wanted to basically try it out with an established team comp to basically test the waters. I'll definitely be trying out more spicy team comps with Trevenant in the coming videos. I'm pretty sure most of you might have already tried it out, but just in case you haven't, this thing is totally worth the investment. So there's some really exciting battles in here, and let's just get straight into it. Okay, moving on to the first battle here. I'm going to be leading with Umbreon, with Trevenant and Azumarill in the back. You can lead with any of these, but I prefer Umbreon in the lead because between Azumarill and Trevenant, you can handle almost everything in the back, right? So we have Umbreon into a Jellicent, fantastic matchup. They make a switch into their Slurpuff. This team doesn't really have a hard Charmer counter, so I'm going to switch into my Azumarill here. Obviously, Azumarill has probably the best matchup against Charmers amongst the three. I mean, I don't want to switch into my Trevenant because Trevenant has a pretty poor matchup against the Charmers as well, right? And obviously, both Trevenant and Umbreon can handle Jellicent, so yeah, I'm just going to go build up a lot of extra energy and go for the Ice Beam here. It does give the shield, which is fantastic. And at this point, I'm just going to try and go for the Hydro Pump right now because if they don't shield this is definitely going to take out the Slurpuff from this range. I'm really hoping to win switch advantage, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that. They do give up 2 shields there, which is okay. But then again, when shields are down, Trevenant can absolutely destroy a lot of backlines, right? So I'm actually going to come in with my Trevenant here. I'm going to have to probably shield one of these, and they're probably going to go for a play rough right now, which is obviously going to be neutral. So I'm going to shield this up. And then I'm just going to try and get to the Seed Bomb as soon as possible here. But I'm actually going to try and completely farm it down because, like I said, Trevenant with loaded energy is extremely deadly. And they make a switch into their Medicham. I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball here, and it just one-shots the Medicham there. And then they come in with their Jellicent. This is absolutely fantastic. It shields down, and then I'm going to go for another Shadow Ball here. And this is, yeah, I mean, look at that. It just one-shots Jellicent from full health, and Slurpuff goes down to Shadow Claw there. So it pretty much like 1v3 their entire team. I mean, obviously, Azumarill did put in a bit of work against Slurpuff, but again, like you see there, I mean, especially when shields are down against a lot of the core meta like Medicham, Jellicent, etc., you can pretty much one-shot a lot of those Pokemon towards endgame there. So anyways, moving on to the second battle here, we have Umbreon into a Galarian Stunfisk. A pretty neutral matchup this. I think this is a narrow loss for Umbreon. Also, this is a rank 1 Umbreon, so it's as good as it gets. But yeah, I'm just going to try and go for as many Dark Pulses as possible. The reason I'm running Dark Pulse is because I feel like it does a little bit more damage than Foul Play. I mean, Foul Play is probably obviously the better move in terms of the subsequent energy gain, but yeah, I definitely prefer running Dark Pulse because it just does that little bit more damage, right? But anyways, I'm going to let this go through. So probably going to be another Earthquake, but they end up going for Rock Slide, which is okay. This is going to be another Rock Slide here, which we can survive, and I should be able to get to a Dark Pulse. And I'm really hoping I can get to a couple of Dark Pulses right now. Yeah, I'm going to go for the Dark Pulse here, and then this is going to do quite a bit of neutral damage. But yeah, definitely not going to be enough to take it down. I'm trying to get to one of the Dark Pulse. Unfortunately, we're not able to get it. But yeah, I'm just going to come in with my Azumarill here and try and bubble down. But anyway, yeah. They go for Earthquake, which is absolutely fine. I'm going to let it go through. And they make a switch into their Venusaur. I'm going to go into my Trevenant here. Now, Trevenant has a pretty positive matchup against Venusaur. Sludge Bomb is only neutral because of the Grass Ghost typing, but I'm still going to shield it because Trevenant is pretty glassy. Then I'm going to overfarm a bit, and I'm going to go straight for the Shadow Ball right now. I don't want to go for the Seed Bomb because that's double resisted, whereas Shadow Ball would one-shot from this range. But it does get the shield, which is okay. And yeah, I'm going to shield this up. They actually baited with Frenzy Plant the first time around, but I'm hoping this is going to be a Sludge Bomb, but it is another Frenzy Plant, which is unfortunate that we shielded that. But I'm going to overfarm a bit and again go for the Shadow Ball here. I don't want to risk it because they're probably close to another move right now. But they come into their Pelipper. I'm going to switch in my Azumarill here and then try and go for the Ice Beam as soon as possible. But they make a really nice switch into their Galarian Stunfisk to catch the Ice Beam. So probably should have held off on that and I could have bubbled down. But they're going to have to go for a Hurricane, right? Because Weather Ball is not going to cut it from this range. So yeah, they're going to have to go for a Hurricane here. Hurricane is going to do a lot of neutral damage to Azumarill, but then again, we have Trevenant, and I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball here. And once again, like I said, when shields are down, Trevenant can absolutely destroy a lot of backlines. Just one-shots the Pelipper, and that's going to take the win for us there. So, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the pattern. That's why I like running Trevenant in the back. I feel like it's a better closer because of its insanely high attack stat, and obviously I think Azumarill provides that better overall coverage, especially against something like Altaria, against some of the dark types like Umbreon, Mandibuzz, etc. Whereas Umbreon is a pretty solid lead, right? Once again, met with the Jellicent here, positive matchup. They make a switch into that Vigoroth. I'm going to try and catch one of the moves on my Trevenant here. Now, Trevenant completely walls Vigoroth, right? Everything is resisted or double resisted. Counter, Brick Break, and Body Slam are double resisted, whereas even Bulldoze is resisted because of the grass typing there. So anyways, I'm going to try and go for the as many Seed Bombs as possible. Obviously, Shadow Claw is double resisted as well because of the normal typing on Vigoroth. And yeah, Body Slam. I mean, this Vigoroth is also running Body Slam and Brick Break. Everything is double resisted right now. Gonna go for the Seed Bomb here. Probably should have overfarmed a little bit if I'm being honest. Because yeah, there's not a lot they can do right now. But anyways, as you can see, I mean, Trevenant is pretty glassy, so it is taking quite a bit of damage from the Seed Bombs as well. But they make a switch into their Altaria. I'm going to switch into my Azumarill here, and this is GG's right now. This is like perfect. Like, we had a perfect hard counter line in this case, but yeah, there's not a lot they can do. They've got 2 shields, but I'm just going to try and go for as many Ice Beams as possible. And I just have to make sure that I maintain switch advantage all the way through so that I can line back the Umbreon against their Jellicent, right? Charge Boost is going to come through. I'm going to let it go through as well. I'm going to probably have to shield the next Sky attack because, I mean, I don't have to shield 2 of these because Dragon Breath is double resisted anyway. Yeah, I'm just going to go for another Ice Beam here. Probably should get the second shield from the Altaria as it does. And I'm expecting them to catch the next Ice Beam on their Jellicent, right? So, Charge Boost is going to come through. I'm going to shield this up. And then I'm expecting them to switch out at some point. And they do make a switch into their Jellicent. I'm immediately going to switch into my Umbreon and go for the Dark Pulse. And this is pretty much GG's right now, right? There's not a lot of play for them. I'm going to go for the Dark Pulse here. It does massive, super effective damage. And I can let everything go through. Even if it's an Ice Beam, it's not a big deal. It is a Bubble Beam, which is pretty annoying, but it's okay. I'm going to try and go for a Dark Pulse. Unfortunately, it ends up being a CMP tie. They're going to go for another Bubble Beam here, which means that the next Dark Pulse is obviously not going to KO. But I should be able to farm down, and yeah. It's just a formality from here on, right? So I'm just going to try and completely farm it down here. Charge Boost is going to come through. Probably going to be another Bubble Beam, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to completely farm it down here. Probably they're going to come in with the Altaria. So I'm actually going to switch into my Azumarill because I don't want to throw a double debuff Dark Pulse. Probably triple debuffed at that stage. But I'm going to shield this up. I'm expecting them to switch into their Vigoroth to catch one of these moves. But luckily they didn't. And I'm going to go for the Ice Beam here. It's going to do double super effective damage and one-shot the Altaria there. And then yeah, Vigoroth is just basically got like 1 HP. So as you can see, pretty convincing win as such. I mean, Trevenant it did pretty well. I mean, it's a pretty solid response to a Vigoroth, but overall it was pretty good there. But this is actually going up against a Nidoqueen double Dark Line, which is probably the hardest team that you will encounter, especially when you're running this team, because yeah, it's very, very hard to deal with such a team, right? Because we don't really have a solid response to Dark types, and especially even against Umbreon, Azumarill without Play Rough against an Umbreon with Last Resort or Psychic, it's kind of a neutral matchup. Obviously, it is slightly in favor of Azumarill, but it's not as straightforward as you think, right? So I'm actually going to try and go for as many Ice Beams as possible. I'm expecting them to have a Scrafty in the back. I mean, Nidoqueen, Shadow Nidoqueen, Umbreon, Scrafty is a pretty popular line. And yeah, Scrafty does really, really well against both Azumarill, against both Umbreon and Trevenant, right? And it's actually when I switched in my Azumarill against their Umbreon is when I realized that they actually switched into their Dark type to bait out the Dark counter. I probably shouldn't have fallen into the trap, but I had no choice anyway. I mean, I probably should have stayed in the Umbreon mirror, but even that isn't a great sort of matchup, especially when the opponent is running Last Resort, which most Umbreons are, to be honest, but I personally do prefer Psychic. But yeah, I probably should have stayed in with Umbreon. That would have been the better play because my Azumarill, I could have lined up my Azumarill against the Scrafty towards the end game there, right? But yeah, I'm going to go for the Ice Beam here, and as you see, I had to basically give up a shield to win switch advantage here. And then they're going to come in with their Nidoqueen and completely farm down. And then I don't want to reveal what my final Pokemon is. Going to come in with my Umbreon and go straight Psychic right now. And yeah, let's see, it does get the shield from the Nidoqueen. And I'm going to try and go for another Psychic right now. But they make a really nice switch into their Scrafty. And as expected, they have a Scrafty in the back. It's really, really hard from here on, right? Gonna switch to my Trevenant here and try and go for as many Seed Bombs as possible. It's my only win condition right now. And I'm really hoping they go for the power up on Shield Bait, which if I call the Shield Bait, that would be probably a win condition there. But I'm gonna let it go through. I mean, I don't want to shield this, and then yeah, they go for the foul play. That just does so much damage. Right? That's a non-boosted foul play. Does about 85 to 90% of Trevenant's health, and that's like one of the downsides of Trevenant. It's just extremely glassy. And then yeah, they're gonna completely farm down as well, which is unfortunate. And then Umbreon has like a terrible matchup against Scrafty, right? Because dark moves are double resisted, whereas their boosted power-up punches are really adding up. I'm gonna have to go for the Psychic. Can't go for Dark Pulse. That might not KO from that range. Gonna have to go for Psychic here. And my only win condition is to get to another Psychic before Nidoqueen can get to 2 Poison Fangs. Right? I'm gonna have to shield this up, and I'm really hoping I can get to another Psychic before they can get to a Poison Fang here. But it's gonna be, yeah. It's pretty close there. We're probably like 2 or 3 snarls away from it, but yeah, they played that really well. I've gone up against this team like a couple of times, and it was very hard to sort of win, right? I mean, you don't want to go up against double Dark Lines, especially with Trevenant in the back, but yeah, there's just not a lot of play there. Anyways, moving on to the next battle here. We have Umbreon into a Swampert. Pretty decent matchup this actually. It's a pretty positive matchup because Swampert is fairly glassy in the Great League and Umbreon is an absolute tank, so it's going to take like 3 Dark Pulses to take it out. Yeah, Dark Pulse does about over 30% of Swampert's health, which is fantastic. And Charge Move is going to come through. I don't have a shield. They probably should go for Hydro Cannon. That's probably more energy efficient in this matchup. And for some reason, they switch it to that Frosslass. I'm not sure why. They probably are trying to, I don't know. I mean, they probably misclicked or something. But this is such a solid matchup for Umbreon, right? I'm just going to let it go through again. I should be able to get to another Dark Pulse here. And yeah. I'm just going to go for another Dark Pulse. This is probably going to get the shield from the Frosslass because Frosslass is just also pretty glassy, right? But unfortunately, they're probably going to be able to farm down from this range, which is unfortunate. But I'm going to come in with my Azumarill and basically soak up these moves. I don't want to come in with Trevenant because Trevenant doesn't have a great matchup against Frosslass because both Avalanche and Shadow Ball would probably one-shot it from full health. Shadow Ball does a lot of neutral damage to Azumarill, and I'm going to have to go for... I'm actually going to go for the Ice Beam and try and farm down with Bubble right now. But unfortunately, Shadow Ball does so much damage. So I'm going to have to go for the Ice Beam. Even though it's resisted, it should still put this Frosslass pretty low. And I'm going to immediately switch in my Trevenant. And they make a switch into their Swampert. And they're going to go for a move right now, right? And I'm going to shield this up because I don't know what this is. Yeah, Sludge Wave would be neutral, but I don't want to take a Sludge Wave right now. And I'm just going to overfarm. I'm actually going to try and completely farm it down here. This is just going to be a Hydro Cannon because it was too soon to be Sludge Wave. Hydro Cannon still does a lot of resisted damage right now. And then again, Trevenant with loaded energy is just extremely deadly towards endgame, right? Let's see what they decide to come in with. They actually come in with their Frosslass. I'm going to completely farm it down again. And we almost have 2 Shadow Balls, right? They come in with Alolan Ninetales. Going to go straight for the Shadow Ball here. And it's going to do massive neutral damage. And I'm going to be barely able to get one of the Shadow Ball. I mean, we were taking so much charm damage there, but luckily I was able to get one of the Shadow Ball, and that's gonna do enough neutral damage to take out the Alolan Ninetales there. And then again, like I said, I mean, as long as they don't have something like an Obstagoon or even Shiftry would be pretty challenging, but yeah, most of the, I mean, you're going to be able to deal with most Pokemon in the back as long as you have the energy advantage, right? I mean, Mandibuzz can be an issue as well, so can Umbreon, but as long as you don't run into dark types, you can, even fire types aren't as much of an issue because you can still hit them for neutral with Shadow Ball there. So we have a Kingdra lead here, which is pretty interesting. You don't see too many Kingdras in the Open Great League, but I mean, you see more of them in Ultra, but anyways, I'm going to let it go through. Probably going to be an Octazooka, but they end up going for Outrage, which is fine. That still doesn't KO. I'm going to go for the Dark Pulse here. And yeah, Dark Pulse is going to do quite a bit of neutral damage right now. And yeah, at this point, we're taking a lot of damage from Dragon Breath. So we end up losing switch advantage, which is unfortunate. But I'm going to come in with my Trevenant and Shadow Claw, farm it down. And they actually come in with their Medicham. Now, Medicham is definitely not a response to Trevenant. This tells me that whatever they have in the back is even weaker to Trevenant. They probably have a Mud Boy in the back or an Azumarill or probably some other Psychic type or something. But anyways, I'm going to shield this up. Ends up being a power-up on Shield Bait, unfortunately. I probably should have gone Seed Bomb for the first Shield Baiting opportunity. I shouldn't have gone straight Shadow Ball, but anyways, I go for the Seed Bomb this time. Does give the second shield as well. And I'm going to shield this up, right? Because this is probably going to be an Ice Punch or a Psychic. It is a Psychic, that's great. And at this point, I'm really hoping that I can completely farm it down here. And unfortunately, I'm not able to exactly farm it down, right? Because they still have a little bit of HP and it ends up being a Psychic as well, which is really bad. And they make a switch back into their Swampert right now. And yeah, understandable why they didn't want to bring it against the Trevenant here. And this is going to be extremely close here. They're going to go for the Sludge Wave, does massive, super effective damage. I'm going to have to go for Hydro Pump here. This is exactly why I like running Hydro Pump on Azumarill, because it just does a lot of neutral damage, especially in matchups like these, right? I'm really hoping I can bubble down before they can get to a mod shot. I'm barely able to do it, and Medicham is going to come in and we're able to bubble down there. So that's extremely close. That Swampert was probably one mod shot away from a Hydro Cannon. I definitely misplayed that, honestly. I shouldn't have completely farmed it down, or I should have at least switched into my Azumarill to catch the Psychic, right? But anyways, we got away with that with going up against a Whiscash lead here, which is a pretty positive matchup because, again, Umbreon definitely wins this in all even shielding scenarios. So they're going to go for a Mud Bomb, does hardly any damage, and I'm going to build up to 2 Dark Pulses and go for the first Dark Pulse here. It's going to do quite a bit of neutral damage in this matchup, and yeah, we're going to need like 3 Dark Pulses, which is okay. Charge Move's going to... This is probably going to be a Blizzard because, yeah, probably Blizzard. I don't know if Mud Bomb or Blizzard is more energy efficient, obviously, especially after Blizzard got the buff, I guess, in the last season. It's definitely become... probably it's more energy efficient. But anyways, going for another Dark Pulse, I don't want to risk it because Whiscash can get to charge moves very quickly. We're able to take it out here. Altaria comes in. This is perfect, right? Again, winning switch advantage also with this team comp, winning the lead is going to be really crucial because between Azumarill and Trevenant, you can handle almost everything in the meta, right? They're going to farm it down, but it's okay. We're going to come in with my Azumarill here. And yeah, I'm just going to come in with my Azumarill and then, we can let it go through. Probably just going to be a Sky Attack. And I am expecting them to switch out at some point. They make a switch in their Galarian Stunfisk. I'm going to come in with my Trevenant here and try and go straight for the Seed Bomb right now. Obviously, I think, Trevenant has a kind of a neutral matchup against Galarian Stunfisk. Rock Slide is still going to do a lot of neutral damage, but obviously Trevenant doesn't have a great matchup against Altaria, right? And I'm going to shield this up because, again, Rock Slide is really adding up. So I'm going to overfarm a lot, and then I'm going to go for the Seed Bomb here to try and get a shield out of them so that I can go for the Shadow Ball the next time, right? We do get the shield, which is fantastic, and I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball here. I'm really hoping they let this go through. But even if they shield that, it's not that big of a deal. They do shield it, which is okay as well. And I'm going to let this go through here. And then I'm going to try and come in with my Azumarill. I'm going to switch into my Azumarill and try and go for the Ice Beam as soon as possible. I'm going to go for the Ice Beam because I can farm it down with Bubble and go for another Ice Beam on the Altaria, right? Yeah, I'm going to try and completely Bubble down here. And I'm going to shield this up because Earthquake is probably going to do the most damage. I mean, more damage than any of the moves that Altaria has. So I'm going to completely Bubble down right now. And then, yeah, I mean, Altaria has no play towards endgame there. So, another solid win. Anyways, moving on to the final battle here. We have Umbreon into Bastiodon here. This is, again, a battle of the tanks. It's going to take forever right now, but it's okay. Bastiodon actually wins this because, yeah, it's probably a bit more tanky, right? And also the smackdowns are really adding up. So, Charge Boost is going to come through. It's going to be a Stone Edge, which is fine, and then I'm going to try and go for as many Dark Pulses as possible. Obviously, it would probably be different if we had Foul Play. I probably would have been able to get to an additional Foul Play, I'm not sure, but yeah, just going to try and go for as many Dark Pulses as possible. I'm going to go for another one here, and then they're probably very close to a Stone Edge, but I'm not going to shield this, right, because I can still come in with my Azumarill and completely farm it down here. I'm not going to shield this. This is not going to KO. We should probably be able to get to another Dark Pulse, and if I can get to a Dark Pulse, that puts it into Bubble farm down range here. But unfortunately, not able to get to a Dark Pulse, but it's still kind of in farm down range. They're probably going to get to a move at best, but it's okay. I'm not going to shield this. We're going to come out of this matchup with a lot of loaded energy, right? And yeah, I'm going to be able to come out of this matchup with a lot of energy here. And then we almost have a Hydro Pump ready to go. So let's see what they decide to come in with. And they come in with bare Trevenant right now. And then again, Azumarill with loaded energy is going to really threaten the shields from Trevenant, right? But I'm going to go for another Ice Beam here. It's going to do massive, super effective damage. And let's see if this gets the second shield from Trevenant. It actually doesn't get the second shield. And I'm going to stay in. I'm going to basically soak up this move. And I'm going to come in with my Trevenant and farm down with Shadow Claw here. So I'm going to come with my Trevenant right now and completely farm it down. And let's see what they have in the back. And they have a Medicham in the back. And this is GG's right now. So they decided to give up the match there. And yeah, that was probably... I think my screen recorder kind of stopped at this point. But... this was, I guess, like one of the, for the most part, I went like 3-2 and 4-1. I mean, 4-1 was like the most common sort of like pattern that I observed, especially with this particular team comp. I'm still like very, very close to veteran. I'm pretty sure most of you might have even hit expert or legend by now, but honestly, I haven't been able to play that much. But hopefully I can get to veteran at least come the next video and hopefully get to expert soon as well. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it, and like I said, Trevenant is just totally worth the investment, and I'll try and bring out another video for Go-Geist probably in the next couple of days. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.